I'm Gerald Bentley. This is LVWS Confidential. Today, we are joined by the person who talks about pro wrestling over the air on the sports radio, Mark Hoke of the Mark Hoke Show, a little pro wrestling talk radio from the combat sports capital of the world. Hey, Mark, thanks for joining us here. Appreciate you stepping in the ring on LVWS Confidential.
Absolutely. I don't feel very confidential, but still, it's all good.
No, doing broadcast radio. I used to do morning drive radio in Cleveland, so as soon as I saw you, I could tell you're actually at the radio station.
I am at the KDON studios right now as we speak, getting ready to do Sports X Radio later on tonight.
Okay, and then Sports X Radio, that's a regular wide spectrum sports radio, right? Talking about the Golden Knights, boxing, the Raiders, maybe the A's moving to Las Vegas.
Oh, we talk about everything on here. But yeah, it's hosted by Ken Thompson here on KDWN from 8 to 10 Pacific time. And yeah, we talk everything. And, I'm getting Ken into wrestling. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Finally.
And then, I mean, it's right there. It is the combat sports capital of the world. You got Impact Wrestling having their No Surrender pay-per-view. You have arguably the best independent wrestling territories in the country there. Multiple companies that produce shows on a regular basis, which, like I've told to quite a few of the guests, being in different parts of the country, you may have one independent show that's a high caliber per month, per state. And in Las Vegas, you literally have sometimes 6, 7 in a week. I mean, it's really an interesting area to talk about local pro wrestling. Is that kind of what got you into it with your own show?
Well, when I decided to do a pro wrestling show, I actually used to do a poker radio show for about 7 years, which was what brought me out to Vegas in the first place. And personal stuff happened. Wife decided to run off, that kind of thing. And I got to take care of my daughter and had to step back. And I got back into radio. Producing for KDWN, and they decided, hey, you want to do a show? And I'm like, oh, okay, what do you want me to do? And the funny part was my program director at the time said, do something you love.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? I don't want to do politics. I will do pro wrestling. And the rest has been history. So
yeah. How long have you been doing that?
Show's been going for about a year and a half now.
Okay.
Yeah, doing okay.
Well, it's a great time for it too, because you've seen really a rebirth of pro wrestling. I'd say the most vibrant pro wrestling nationwide since before the WWE bought out WCW, because you went through kind of a downtime nationally after WCW went out. I think a lot of the territories went down as well. And it really took years to rebuild. The Ring of Honor probably got it kind of jump started, but you're talking about very, very little. And in Las Vegas now, I mean, literally it's everywhere. The Level Expo just happened, where Versus did 24 hours of wrestling over 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
FSW's on nationwide pay-per-view. I mean, it's a renaissance of pro wrestling. What territories do you really kind of focus on the most, or what's the theme of the show on a weekly basis?
Mostly we hit WWE and AEW, but we do talk the other promotions. We've just been working really hard with Impact over the past week, getting ready for their pay-per-view here tomorrow night. Well,
sure.
It will be tomorrow night, but here. But anyway, we're recording. But and that's been a blast working with those guys, and then I get to work on the local scene too. Do a lot of work with FSW. We talk about them quite a bit. Joe DeFalco, one of the owners, is on the show. So we certainly get to dig into a lot with the independent scene here too. And you are right, by the way. It is just such an amazing time in professional wrestling. I can't remember a time like this since I've been following it in the 80s. Just from the independent scene all the way up top, the quality is great. There's so many opportunities for performers to get out there, so many options for everybody to watch. And Las Vegas has really becoming the center of that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time for WrestleMania is here, I'm sure. So
Oh, yeah, especially with Allegiant Stadium. And it's right there. It's made for it. You
yeah,
know.
I went to SummerSlam when that was here in Allegiant Stadium, and what a facility!
Hmm.
Just loud and crazy, and the fans were so excited. And I know that there will be a WrestleMania here soon, and when it hits, it's going to be something else. I can't
Oh
wait.
yeah. I think for a time comparable to now, you'd have to go back to before the WWE really started getting traction when you had WWE on USA back in the old days with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan doing the TV. You
Mhm.
had the WCW going, World Class Championship Wrestling was going with a nationwide show back during the modern day Warrior era with Kerry Von Erich, and the AWA was still going. But even at that point, it wasn't at the level that you have now, where every week the number one, the number two shows on cable TV are usually WWE and AEW, and then mix in MLW just got a new TV contract on a top 25 network, the Reels channel. Ring
Mhm.
of Honor starting again with some Las Vegas connection. Some Vegas wrestlers are going to be involved in that. Impact, like you said, bringing in basically their whole roster and camping out at Sam's Town for 3 days. And you just had some news. I guess it was kind of vague, but sounded like Tony Khan basically said that that Memorial Day, that May pay per view from AEW is going to be a fixture in Las Vegas. And that comes with Dynamite and Rampage. And now with Ring of Honor, probably Ring of Honor, you may well get a week's worth of shows every year right around that time, which is great for Las Vegas.
Yeah, last year was absolutely incredible with all the shows that were going on, because once the word gets out that WWE is coming, AEW is coming,
Hmm.
then everybody starts barreling in here and doing different shows. I mean, you could probably be watching wrestling nonstop from Wednesday through Sunday night.
Oh,
It it
absolutely.
it was amazing the last time around when AEW was here, and I can't imagine as things continue to grow and grow. And now you have an opportunity, maybe do Ring of Honor cards. I
Hmm.
know WSW is going to be busy, and I'm sure Versus and all the other ones are going to be firing things up too. It's a lot of fun. I did get to go to all three of the AEW events, and what a
Yeah,
blast that was. What a blast. I can't imagine being in more wrestling heaven maybe than other than WrestleMania. This was
sure.
exciting. But yeah, I did kind of sneak that in on Tony and get him to vaguely answer the question on the interview that I got to do with him about coming into Vegas again for Double or Nothing. And he essentially said to me, yeah, might want to be ready. And I'm like, okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was fun. That interview
Well,
turned out
and it makes so much sense too, because I mean, you're in the ultimate destination city, right?
absolutely.
52 weeks a year, 365 days a year. If you're coming from a different market, you can always go to Las Vegas, and there's something to do. There's something unique to do. So if you make it a tent pole event where every year it's here, you'll get people traveling there just to go to the event. And it was already happening last year. I listened to, I believe it was Chris Jericho's podcast, talking to the fallen goddess Athena about
Mhm.
how she made her debut at that Las Vegas pay per view. And she was freaked out because it was supposed to be a surprise. And when she got into the hotel, I think it was Mandalay Bay, soon as she got into the elevator, somebody recognized her.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And
There, there's nowhere to
it's
hide.
because you have
Yeah.
you have wrestling fans just flooding the area because, hey, if I live in Omaha, if I live in Wichita, Kansas, if I live in Portland, Oregon, wherever, you can fly to Las Vegas super easy, super affordably, and there's going to be something to do that'll make it a great week above and beyond going to the wrestling event. So
Yeah,
it just
absolutely.
makes so
And
much sense.
yeah, Las Vegas has really become a city that it's more than just the casinos now.
Hmm.
When I was growing up, I was here maybe when I was 12 or 13 years old. And if you didn't have mom and dad taking you to a buffet, you didn't have anything to do in Las Vegas. But now it is so much different. You have so many outdoor activities. You've got the casinos and a lot of stuff off the strip and Fremont
Yeah.
Street and the shows. And it's, you've got wildlife reserves and everything that you could do with the family. So it is a perfect venue to come out and see professional wrestling without a doubt. And, you can have a great time here without even setting foot at a table if you want. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's really become such a hub, and with the airport being so huge, and it's centrally located. That you cannot. I don't. I'm trying to think of a city that's better for a major event than professional wrestling, and Las Vegas has changed so much. I've been here 9.5 years,
Hmm.
and the city has grown to a level that, I mean, we're running out of water. We're it's
Yeah.
it's getting crazy out here, but it is so exciting to see Las Vegas continue to grow, and professional wrestling without a doubt is a part of that.
You know what? There's great event cities. There's great cities with convention facilities. Like I said, I used to do sports talk radio in Cleveland, did morning drive, and Cleveland's a great convention city. It's a great event city. You fly into the airport, you never have to walk outside. You get on a train drops you off at the convention hotels. The arena's attached, the stadium's attached. It'd be a terrific venue. But there's only so much to do, right? There's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there's the flats, and there's Playhouse Square, but it's not Las Vegas where you have more events going on any given day than most cities have in a week. And then if you compare it to, say, New York, Chicago, I mean, sure, the entertainment aspects are there, but the accessibility is vastly different because everything isn't in a 4 mile circle. It's spread out and it's hard to get from place to place. You're taking cabs, you're taking the train, and you don't really realize how spread out the city is until you get there. So, yeah, I think Las Vegas is unique in that everything is right there in that tight circle. And then if you want to venture out, you can.
Yeah, and I try to tell people, get off the script. If you want to save some money and have some fun and do a lot of different activities, you gotta get out of there. But of course, obviously, if you're coming here for the first time, you've got to go to the strip and have
Sure.
your hit your casinos, hit your shows, blow your money on the first day or two. The local economy thanks you. We appreciate it.
Hmm.
And then when you're out of money, then head over to Red Rock Canyon or something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, the convention space has expanded so much here with, we added a new hall to the main convention center. Thing's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I don't know how they fit it. The Sphere, the new
Hmm.
amphitheater that is
Madison
going,
Square Garden Entertainment Sphere. Yeah.
that's going to be, I'm looking forward to seeing some wrestling in that too. I think that'll happen. As long as King
Well,
Kong doesn't grab it and take it and roll it down the strip and do some casino bowling, but
well,
otherwise, it's pretty cool.
you know what? When Madison Square Garden Entertainment did their initial press conference announcing it, they did point out that it is built with the sole purposes of concerts and combat sports.
Mhm.
And it's amazing. If people are watching this and they haven't heard of the Madison Square Garden Sphere at the Venetian, or you didn't see the U2 commercial during the Super Bowl, just look it up. Go online and search the Sphere at the Venetian. It is an enormous circular arena. The entire outside of the building is a video screen. The entire inside of the building is a video screen. Yeah, it would be an absolutely incredible venue for boxing, MMA, or pro wrestling.
Absolutely. And I've been watching that thing go up since day one. And I still don't know how they fit it where they did. That to me was the fascinating part. But my God, that thing is huge and it's going to be beautiful. And it's taking a new spot on the Vegas skyline. And I can't wait to see all the events that go in there and
Hmm.
how immersive it's going to be, because with all the video screens that are going to be set up in that thing, I can't imagine what it's going to be like to, if you want to go see a boxing match or a concert or a pro wrestling event. So that's supposed to open, I believe, in September
Hmm.
ish. That's what I've been hearing. So
All
get
they've
ready.
done is they've announced the act. It's going to be you too, and that was vaguely announced in the Super Bowl ad. But yeah, no time yet.
Yeah,
And
and between that and Allegiant Stadium, plus everything else that goes on, this city is 24/7 now. We
mhm,
used to have kind of a lull period, maybe over the late summer and then through, the between like Thanksgiving leading into Christmas. Things would kind of slow down around here. Not anymore. It is non-stop action in Las Vegas, and anytime you want to come out and do something, all you have to do is hop on a plane and you'll find it. So it's pretty fun. And then with all the wrestling going on, if you're a wrestling fan, there's things going on every weekend. It's amazing.
yeah, oh, absolutely. So let me ask you, what made you say when they said, "Hey, do the show about something you love"? What made it be pro wrestling? What was the initial attraction to pro wrestling?
Pro wrestling is something that's always been my um, one of my outlets to relax, get away from the world. I coached volleyball for 20 plus years. I've been a parent for a very long time. I'm a single dad of a 14-year-old dynamo girl.
Okay,
Keeps me on my toes. And, I wanted to do something different on the air. And I said to myself, if there's something I'm going to do that I'm going to really enjoy and get into, you know, that's it. I didn't want to go back and do the poker thing. You don't do the same gig twice. You change up and do something different. And
sure.
so I just said, let's go for this. And especially, I got off to for me personally, a little bit of a rocky start, just because I had some personal stuff going on. I wasn't feeling well. But now that I've really been able to get things moving on the show, it's absolutely exploded. We've been heard in 160 countries on our podcasts.
Wow.
Uh, we've, the Tony Khan interview that I did made worldwide news, and which I was so humbled, and I thank all the wrestling fans out there for checking it out and checking out the show and now seeing what it's all about. And uh, and the best part is I get to talk about something that I just love to talk about.
Sure.
And that's what I would tell anybody that has a passion: do something that you really enjoy. You can go through that grind all day long, but if you have a passion for something, work hard as you can, and go for that and see what happens. You may win, you may lose, but at least you're going to have fun doing it. So
Sure. Now, how did the how did the Tony Khan interview go? How did you feel talking to him? Because what you just said, if you have a passion for something, go do it. I mean, he's a great example of that. I mean, he talked about his dad taking him to a Ring of Honor show and taking him to an ECW show when he was young to give him a reward for having good grades. And that held all the way through to when he's got access to billions of dollars and decided, hey, you know what I want to do? I want to bring pro wrestling back to TBS, which hadn't happened in years. So, I mean, it really started out as a passion project to the point his dad, Shad Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the guy who supplies all the bumpers for Toyotas in the country,
mhm.
said, well, I thought he was going to lose a bunch of our money, but no, I mean, it's actually working. It's really, really kind of an amazing example of doing something you're passionate about and pushing it.
Yeah, and Tony's, I would love to have had an hour or two with the guy. I only had about 15, 20 minutes to talk to him, but
Hmm.
I can tell you, you feel that passion in his heart when he just starts talking about what he's doing and talking about pro wrestling. And I think that passion translates through to what they're doing on the show. Sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss, but I can tell you that this guy will never back down. he is going to push and push and push. And, eventually, and you can tell that you're still in the beginning stages of AEW. And, they're just starting to do international shows. They're just starting to do
Yep.
house shows. So you're seeing the beginning of another company to go along with WWE that are gonna, and they've really forced each other to be better, which
Hmm.
has been so good for us. I think that's been the biggest impact that Tony's had with AEW is, we would sit around and we'd talk on the show about how, yeah, this angle wasn't that good. Oh, geez, WWE's doing this goofy bleh. Eh. And now you see what has happened, that they have really stepped up. And it's exciting to see that. I mean, we're all talking about WWE now. We're all talking about
Yeah.
Sami. We're all talking about the Bloodline, and and some of the other storylines down the card. And I think that what's happened now is WWE doesn't want to fall behind AEW, and they have the mechanism to do it. So they're really pushing hard. Triple H has done a great job.
Yeah,
Tony's
it has.
pushing behind, and then everybody else is coming up behind them too. You can't, even in an, if you're running an independent promotion, you can't do a sloppy job, because if you do, everybody's going to see it and they're not going to watch. So you see the companies here in Las Vegas, especially with, like I said, I do, go to a lot of the FSW shows,
Sure.
and they've really stepped up, and they've got so much great talent at FSW, and you can see that they know there's chances now. There's something to work for, and those guys and gals are pushing so hard, and it's absolutely fun to see. And who wins? We do.
Yeah. And you are seeing people from Las Vegas getting those steps up. Is just here, just in the last couple of really the last couple of weeks. The Black Swan from Dark Arts, I think
Hmm.
less than 2 years in from ballet dancing, she had a match on AEW. Jay Vidal signed now with Impact Wrestling. Chris Bay is in Impact. Kenny King wrestling regularly in Impact. Hammerstone, your MLW World Heavyweight Champion. And coming up, it'll air right before this actually airs. But if you go on YouTube and watch the latest AEW Dark Elevation, you'll see three of the four guys who have been, I guess you could say, lighting up professional wrestling in the Las Vegas area. Lights, Camera, Faction, they're going to be on in a six-man match on AEW Dark Elevation, going up against All Ego Ethan Page, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah from Private Party. So
Hmm.
high profile, and they're getting their shot. And you know what? How many wrestlers 15 years ago, 10 years ago would have done almost anything to get a shot to get on national TV, get a match in a national promotion that's growing, and you have a great chance of getting signed. And now it's kind of like an NFL player getting into an exhibition game. You're not just working out for the coach of the team that you're playing for. You get on AEW Dark, you have a good match. You're also working for MLW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, WWE, NXT. Sometimes all you need is that one shot, and it can completely change the course of your life and career.
Yeah, and that's been the fun part about this renaissance in wrestling. It's not just for the fans, it's for the performers too.
Hmm.
Because if you wanted to get somewhere, say the last 7 years before AEW, you'd have to either somehow get on with WWE, or maybe go to Japan, or catch on with Ring of Honor. And that was
Yeah.
generally it. And now, oh my God, I mean, these people have so many chances to get out there. And the one thing with Las Vegas being such a great wrestling scene is, when Impact comes here, they're going to get people on. That
Hmm.
people are getting seen on the pay-per-views, like with what FSW does, and they're getting their opportunities. We just had Jay Vidal on We actually have him on SportsX Radio this week as
Okay.
we're getting ready for that. And I can't begin to tell you how happy I was when I saw Jay, because I hadn't seen him since he'd gotten the Impact contract, and we were just thrilled to death, and he was so happy. And that's a
Hmm.
guy that deserved a chance. I mean, I even said to Ross Foreman when he was here, he was walking out the door, I said, that guy should be sometime down the road your X Division champ. He really should be. He's that talented. And
Yeah.
there's other guys. You mentioned Lights Camera Faction. Matt Vandergriff is a guy that when I watch him perform, just unbelievable. He's got a little bit to do in the promo department, but otherwise, my God, he wrestled one night
Yeah.
three times, and did the last match against Hammerstone, was selling that he was completely beat up, and I was so impressed with Vandergriff. I love the guy to death. I think he's a terrific person, but what he does in the ring is big time, and it's only a matter of time for a guy like that. And people around the country are all getting those kind of opportunities. Just a matter of getting on with the right company and making the right contacts.
Yeah. Vandergraff is tremendous. He has, if you haven't seen him wrestle, if you've seen Darius and Dante Martin or AR Fox, Vandergriff can do similar moves to them. He has basically
Mhm.
any move you can imagine. He's got it in the move set. And, really in that pay-per-view, he probably didn't have to sell much to come across as being completely beaten down and worn out. 3 matches in one show. That's a lot.
Yeah, and the one thing that I love about watching Matt perform is understands the psychology. He understands how to sell, and a lot of people that when they maybe show up on NXT or so on are still learning that. I
Hmm.
mean, it just comes naturally to Matt. I mean, if you go back and watch that match he had with Hammerstone, I mean, just he was almost perfect. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sitting there watching this and I'm like, am I at a WWE match right now? Because he and Hammerstone were both absolutely incredible. Both those guys, I still can't believe they don't have major contracts with AEW or WWE yet. I can't. It'll happen someday for both of them though.
Hmm. Well, I really think Ring of Honor getting their feet back under them, that's going to be a huge impact for people looking, not to play on the words, but people looking to take that next step up, because now you're going to have Ring of Honor, Impact, MLW is trying to move up, New Japan's trying to get more involved in the American market. They're all going to be looking for talent, and that's great because that competition, that free agent market, like Tony Khan's been talking about, maybe he mentioned it with you too. It's really getting to be like all the other major sports where free agency is going to be a topic because somebody's contract comes up. Maybe Trey Miguel's contract comes up, and
Yeah.
wow, hey, he'd be a good fit for AEW, be a good fit for NXT, Impact. I mean, the wrestling companies are going to have to start making decisions on who you're going to go with, who's going to sign here, and there's going to be so much opportunity because the internet, shows like this, your podcast, your radio show, the opportunity to get in front of audience, the potential of reaching people on a broadcast medium is just so wide open now. You can get exposed, and there's going to be more and more markets. I forgot to even mention the NWA. The NWA is growing
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, everybody's getting pretty healthy pretty fast, and the competition for talent is there. I think a great example of that was when Bandito, wrestled
Hmm.
Chris Jericho, and all of a sudden everybody acted like Bandito just showed up.
Yeah.
Obviously he was an incredible talent, but was doing his thing during the pandemic on Ring of Honor, so people didn't get to see as much of him or pay attention to him like they should have. And then he caught everybody's attention, and
Hmm.
I'm sure there were a lot of zeros at the end of the contract. And that's all it takes. It
Yeah.
takes one really good opportunity, and you do your media, you get out on shows like yours and mine, and get your opportunities to talk and let people hear you. And I think if people would have heard, for example, we had Chris Bay on, hyping up this Impact thing. Deanna
Sure.
Purrazzo, Jay Vidal. If you go back and listen to that interview with Jay, I mean, who would not want that guy with your company? I mean, we were having so much fun with him, and
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people like that when they get to get their personalities out, they're adding their value to what they do, and that's part of what I like to do on my show is, I don't necessarily just focus on the wrestling. I want to focus on the person
Sure.
because we're getting something out of it, obviously having a guest on the show, but I want them to get something out of it too, and I want people to get to know them and feel like, yeah, I want to go see that guy.
Hmm.
He sounds really cool, she sounds great, and and that's one of my goals for the show is to give performers that platform, and we're getting to visit the past a little bit too, which is kind of fun. So
Sure. Well, hey, let's go ahead and wind it down here. Go into the championship round. We got the Las
oh
Vegas Wrestling Scene Confidential belt for you. You get to be the LVWS Champion of the Week. Just a few quick questions for you.
woo, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Hey, we talked about WWE, talked about the Bloodline. Coming up, main event of WrestleMania. Who's it going to be? The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, or your tribal chief, the head of the table, the reigning and defending WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion of the world, Roman Reigns?
You want my true answer?
Sure.
All three. This is what I would do. Sammy beats Roman night one, Cody, and then you do a little twist. You split the belts up, and Cody walks out with one of them. Roman walks out with one. Everybody wins.
There you go.
In just so I almost wonder if Cody Roman's actually going to happen. I'm curious, but if it is Cody and Roman, Cody walks out title.
Okay, I do think they should split the titles. I agree.
Yeah. So I'm predicting chaos at WrestleMania.
Okay, well they got 2 nights.
Yeah, and that's why they've got 2 nights to play around with this. I think this is going to be a wild WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And like you said, hopefully it comes soon to Las Vegas. Okay.
Absolutely.
What wrestler in the Las Vegas wrestling scene should we be looking out for? Who do you think the next 1 or 2 breakout performers are?
I'm actually going to go with the 2 of the top guys in FSW right now, Vandergraff and Ice Williams. I've been so impressed with Matt over the last year watching him wrestle, and Ice has got something pretty special too. He's, I've heard things about him that he really kind of had to learn the business side of it a little bit more, and I think he's got it, and he's quite impressive. I saw him wrestle Hammerstone, looked pretty good, so I'm going to go with those 2 guys.
Okay. And what event are you looking forward to the most coming to Las Vegas this year?
Well, Double or Nothing's going to be pretty good. That was a blast last year, and certainly I can't imagine Double or Nothing not being pretty wild this time around, and especially with them getting, because they were kind of having some booking issues and injury issues last year. They should come in pretty solid this year. So I say get ready for Double or Nothing Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, getting healthy. And here, I don't believe that the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, is going to beat MJF for the title. No. Even though I'm amazed they're actually going to have an Iron Man match with MJF. But I do think the week-long residents in Las Vegas, there'll be plenty of time to say, hey, who's ready for story time with Adam Cole, baby? Because he's back and healthy. I think that's going to be the main event. Adam Cole, baby, going up against MJF. And we'll see if it's all about the boom in Las Vegas. That'll be interesting.
I think people would really enjoy that match. And, it's been sad what happened to Adam with that concussion, but, he's managed to come through it. And Adam Cole main eventing here at Double or Nothing. Yeah, I'm down. Sign me up.
Excellent. Now, hey, where can people find the Mark Hoke Show? Where can you find it online?
Well, there's a lot of little places you can check it out. Of course, we've got our website markhokeshow.com. The podcasts are available primarily at markhokeshow.podbean.com, but they're all over the place. That distributes it everywhere on the internet. You can follow me on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show. We appreciate you like and following there. Just trying to get that YouTube channel built up. So if you got a second and you want to subscribe, it's The Mark Hoke Show. In case you haven't figured out, just type in The Mark Hoke Show. You're all
Sure.
good.
That's a good name. And while you're at it, people that are watching this, go ahead, like the video, and by all means, reach over and subscribe to Las Vegas Wrestling Scene on YouTube. Hey, Mark, thanks a lot for stepping in the ring. We'll be sure to catch your show, The Mark Hoke Show, and looking forward to more pro wrestling coming up in Las Vegas.
Absolutely, Gerald. Thank you very much for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks again. Have a good night.